Now that the dust has settled, and T-Mobile announced a few weeks back that they spent the $3 billion on auction 110 that allowed them to get that average 20 megahertz across 186 million pops points of presence. I wanted to come back and ask you guys, now that you're seeing how fast and quickly Verizon is moving. I know some of you are personally seeing this in your market. It's not just me saying it. You're seeing in real time how fast Verizon is moving with this mid-band deployment. And at the same token, they're also putting up CBRS at the same time. So it's 60 on C-band, and in most markets, it's the licensed 30 or 40, and then they can go above that with the additional CBRS licensing that the other carriers are not using. They can go to 60 and 80 megahertz in some cases in these respective markets. So Verizon is moving at a very quick pace. They wanted to achieve that internally, just a very aggressive goal, and that's just the Verizon engineers. They're competitive. They want to compete amongst themselves, not necessarily, to T-Mobile, but maybe the engineer in California says, "Hey, the engineer up in New York, I'm going to be faster than you in Los Angeles with this deployment." They just compete, and they're seasoned engineers. They've been there a long time. They have lots of experience. So there's always friendly competition, and they're moving at a pace unlike ever seen in many cases. Some are saying they're about 6 months faster, if not more, than the pace that T-Mobile put up with N41. Now you seeing that, and there's going to be more info coming March 3rd, the Analyst Day. There's going to be more aggressive targets. You're going to see a complete shift in the guidance versus a year ago. So you seeing the deployment, and now how aggressive Verizon is just overall deploying. And like I said, since the dust has settled, is that $3 billion still better invested in the spectrum that they purchased? Or what about putting, like I said, when I first made the video that this was announced, the $3 billion that they spent, or would that $3 billion have been better invested into small cells? A separate fund, $3 billion for small cells. I know they're putting up 35,000 small cells under the Crown Castle contract, but why not add another 20,000? I think that's more effective, and I think you can deploy those 20,000 at a bigger scale beyond the 186 million pops where you purchased the spectrum. So I think the small cells bring further densification that you're going to need anyway. At some point, they're going to have to deploy more than the 35,000 small cells. Why not do it now? Why spend another $3 billion on spectrum? That's going to, it's going to have an effect on the network, of course. It's going to increase the speeds. But the way they're going to grow this home internet, that 20 megahertz is going to get sucked up real quick by this home internet usage. So I still stand by the story that small cells would have been more effective versus buying $3 billion worth of spectrum. You put some of those small cells closer to the neighborhoods. You offload the macro. It's a ripple effect. It makes your network more reliable, makes your calling better. It offloads a good amount of people. It likely brings, the equipment closer to the home internet user. It increases their experience. So it's just a win across the board. Not saying that the spectrum is a huge loss. It's of course you're adding to your arsenal. It's more ammunition for you. But I still think long term, putting $3 billion into small cells, an additional $3 billion, would have worked wonders for them. It could have taken them, just to that next level, in my opinion. Are those 20,000 more small cells going to come eventually? Yes, it's going to happen. Like I said, the reporting shows that they estimate the usage that home internet is enduring, that 7 to 8 million that they're guiding by 2025 which is likely going to be more at the clip that they're growing now. They're going to have more than 7 to 8 million customers by 2025. But the numbers show in the reporting, 7 to 8 million customers is an equivalent of 280 million wireless customer lines. So just keep that in mind in terms of the 3 billion. And we'll probably talk about that again in a couple of more years and come back to this point that, perhaps they do drop off in speed or rankings or whatnot. And then it's going to come out, well, if they would have spent that 3 billion back then, invested that in small cells, they would have been okay. So we'll see what happens. Just wanted to come back to that point now that the dust has settled. Interesting. But I strongly believe that this 3 billion would have been invested and spent better on small cells. In my opinion, the macros are coming. They got Sprint Keep sites, about 12,000. I'm hearing those are still increasing every day as they go through the network model. 10,000 new sites for coverage. So those are coming and those are paid for. But I think the extra 3 billion for small cells would have been big or bigger than buying the spectrum, in my opinion. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section down below. Before I end the video, we got a busy month ahead. Busy month. To kind of give you some perspective. Starting next month, I'm actually gonna. I've been talking to some people. Next month, I'm gonna start bringing some videos on Dish. They have an analyst day on March 10th. That's supposed to be very detailed. We already have some of the city counts on where they're gonna launch. Mostly small markets. The 25 metro areas that they're claiming to be major metro areas. Some of those are very debatable, right, in terms of being major metro. I mean, El Paso, Albuquerque, decent size, but not the effect of what New York City, Chicago, and LA would do for them. So we'll get to that next month. We got 3 analyst days to cover. We don't know if T-Mobile is presenting, but we got AT&T on the 11th. We got Verizon on March 3rd. We got Dish on the 10th. I'm also going to start not making videos on the cable side, but I'm going to look at their analyst days too, because it's going to be interesting. If they guide a downtrend in their net adds or in their overall growth for the year, then we know fixed wireless is hurting them. And that's going to make Verizon and T-Mobile stock explode. It's going to go up because now the analysts and the investors are going to start realizing, oh, crap, this fixed wireless is a real deal. They're going to keep growing at a good clip, and it's going to be a successful revenue for the companies. So, I mean, February is almost ending. It came and went very quick. And then March is a big month for those analyst days. And then, of course, after that, heading right into April, we got quarterly earnings coming up. The first is AT&T on the 21st of April, Verizon, and then, of course, we likely won't get T-Mobile till the early May. So make sure you guys stay tuned to the channel, like, share, subscribe, follow the social media outlets for more updates and interactions. Thanks again for watching. This is Tyrone with Tech Life, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.